In 1987, a Wisconsin family bought a secondhand bunk bed to save space. Within weeks, their home turned into something from a nightmare. Voices in the wall, objects moving on their own, a figure cloaked in fire standing in their bedroom doorway. And it all began the night that bed was brought inside. So the question is, can a piece of furniture become a doorway to hell? Tonight, we climb into the nightmare of the Tallman Bunk Beds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Is This Real? Tonight's episode, we are talking about the Tallman Bunk Beds and the creepy story behind it and whether or not a piece of furniture can be haunted. But in the booth, we have Pope Tony. Pope Tony, say hello.
Well, former Pope.
That's true.
We're still working on a moniker.
Yes, I can't. I can't.
I think I need one. I deserve a moniker. I was the Pope for a long time.
Yeah, I make a few suggestions.
And then we have...
Right now I'm wearing my giant space ween. You can buy this shirt. It's available for sale.
Yes, there you go. And then we have Big Joe on the other side. Big Joe, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Big Joe looks 1,000 years old.
He probably feels 1,000 years old. All right, so the Tallman Bunk Beds, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is our second time trying to do this episode. We won't talk about that. But, Anthony, have you ever heard of the Tallman Bunk Beds?
No, I've never heard of the Tallman Bunk Beds outside of our first attempt to trying to film this episode. This is becoming a season of, I think we should call it haunted, goofy shit. Because every episode we just go, well, I guess that could be haunted too. Ghosts and demons or spirits can just, they don't possess it. We've been very clear about that. We've said that over and over. They don't possess anything. They don't want
to lug it around either.
I know. They can just be attracted to it. They can be connected to it in some way. We don't know. We don't understand how any of this works. But anything can be haunted. Any place can be haunted. It is not up to us. It's the ghosts and the paranormal's decisions. What they decide is haunt-worthy and what is it. We've already talked about a haunted chair on this season already. Let's talk about a haunted bunk bed.
All right, Big Joe, have you ever heard of the...
I have not, but thank you for your diatribe. However, I'm going to tell you, I believe this episode, or I believe this Tallman bunk bed stuff. I don't believe the fact that bunk beds came into the house and did something. What I do believe in it was just something. It might have been the house they moved into, and the bunk beds might have come in at the wrong time when these spirits or whatever is haunting them. I mean, there's a lot that went on here, and was going on prior to the bunk beds coming in.
Well, let's get into the story.
Let's go.
The case file of the Tallman House, location Horicon, Wisconsin. The description in Horicon, Wisconsin is a small farming town of 3,800 people. It's about 40 miles from Madison, Wisconsin. It is described as a safe and prosperous place. It is known for being a stopover on the Mississippi Flyway, a migratory route for birds. The case file, 32-year-old Alan Tallman and his 30-year-old wife. What?
Hold on.
What?
The most interesting thing about this place is that it's a stopover for birds migrating. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, it's a migratory highway.
I understand it's a migratory highway, but I'm saying, like, of all the interesting shit that a town has, like, this is it. Like, oh, no. It's birds stop here as they're flying to Canada. This is like in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Okay.
Just give me the town again.
Shout out to all our Wisconsin fan.
Where was this in Wisconsin again? I gotta just...
It is Horicon, Wisconsin.
Horicon?
Horicon.
Horicon. There's a car named that. It's a badass.
Anywho, I'm going to get back to the actual fucking story.
Hold on. I just want to know the population.
Jesus Christ. 3,800.
That's the altitude.
No, I literally said a small farming town of 3,800 people. Now, granted, that's back in 1988.
Okay. Continue. I apologize.
Yeah, jack off. Okay.
We got birds here.
32-year-old Alan Tallman and his 30-year-old wife, Debbie, had 2 children, 7-year-old Danny and 1-year-old Marianne. On April 13, 1986, they moved into a house on South Larrabee Street in Horicon, Wisconsin. Debbie was pregnant at the time. She felt it was their dream home and they would be there for a long time. But according to them, they were later run out of the house by spirits that terrorized them. The Tallman's house had no known history of hauntings, and they had previously never given ghosts a second thought. They are regular churchgoers. Debbie is a housewife and a mother, and Alan is a shift supervisor at a manufacturing plant. They are credible and responsible citizens, but their paranormal experiences have left them deeply scarred. They feel like they were in a battle with forces they do not understand. a battle they were destined to lose. Within weeks of moving into their new house, Danny and Marianne, who had rarely been sick, fell ill. According to Debbie, there were doctor's offices between 1 and 3 times a week. Marianne was hospitalized twice, once for chickenpox and once for an ear infection.
Okay, hold on. Just because you move into a house and get sick don't mean it's haunted. She had a chickenpox and an ear infection. That explains why she was sick.
What else happened when they moved into this house?
Well, I mean, before a certain someone, stopped me from
Just keep
reading.
going.
Anywho, where was I? Alan got sick as well. At first, they thought their illness was due to the house's building materials. However, building inspectors found no trace of asbestos or other toxic substances. The Tallman's pet kitten started acting crazy. She would run around the house and climb on the walls and doors. One night, she ran into Alan and Debbie's bedroom, jumped onto a dresser, and attached herself to a plaster wall. Yes, just spread eagle on the wall.
Poor cat had the zoomies. Leave her alone.
Anywho, in the fall of 1986, Debbie was diagnosed with placenta previa and was told by doctors not to perform housework. Her mother and sister came over to help. However, both had negative feelings about the house. They felt they felt it was suffocating the family. Her mother could not wait to leave. Her sister would get headaches and began to feel sick. In November, Debbie gave birth to their second daughter, Sarah. Around that time, Alan's personality changed. At night, he became short-tempered and easily irritated.
A father in the 80s, short-tempered, easily irritated, manages a plant from Wisconsin. Color me shocked. A blue-collar man working 12 hours a day to come home to 3 screaming kids and an annoying wife.
2 kids, right?
They had a third one.
They had the third, while she was there. And I'll say something about the houses, though. Like that feeling of suffocation and shit. I've been in houses, like I used to do construction. I've been in many houses where I was like, this feels weird. It feels off. Because, like, in some cases, like most of them were, shitholes and things were falling apart. But other times, it's just the way the house is fucking built. Like a low-hanging ceiling, you notice that. Like, there's nothing wrong with the room. It's just that, the ceiling could be a little higher. And that puts it feels like you're being, like, smothered sometimes.
Was any of that the case here?
I don't know the layout of the house.
Well,
So I know just about the bunk bed, but I don't know the.
Well, keep going. Maybe they'll say something about that.
Well, they don't say anything about that, but later the month that Sarah was born, one night he threatened to leave the family, and then he went on a drinking binge.
Sounds like a Tuesday in Wisconsin to me.
That night, the radio took a life on its own, moving back and forth between stations. Annie ran to the living room. Oh, wait. I jumped forward a little bit. I'm sorry. In early February 1987, Alan and Debbie purchased a bunk bed at a secondhand furniture shop and stored it in their basement. In May, they moved it into Danny's old bedroom so Marianne and Sarah could share a room. He moved into the bedroom next door. He also inherited his parents' old clock radio. That night, the radio took a life on its own, moving back and forth between stations. Danny ran to the living room and told Alan and Debbie what happened. They did not believe him, so they sent him back to bed. A few minutes later, he saw the radio dial move by itself. The indicator went from one side to the other. He again told his parents that what had happened, thinking he was...
Okay, sure. Put me back on the screen.
Okay, here we go.
So, first of all, how old was Danny at this time? Does it mention that? Because you talked
believe-
fast. I wasn't. I was.
Danny's a young kid.
Okay, so say, because they mentioned that he's afraid of sleeping alone in his bedroom. If you're an older kid, like 15, 16, 17, you're afraid of sleeping alone, you need therapy. You need to go to bed. You need to stop acting up. Unless something strange is happening. But if there's a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old in bed at night when they don't want to be and they want to be up, what's the chances of a kid lying to get attention because they're up? Now mom and dad are coming in here. I mean, could a radio malfunction? Sure. Could a kid be lying about it to get attention so he doesn't have to go to bed? More likely. The suitcase thing. Like, here's the thing. Like, these are all firsthand experiences by the kid. He's like, I'm seeing this. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but what's the likelihood that it happened? And it's not just a kid being a shit. Go to bed.
Well, the parents thought the same thing. So,
like banging the water, like I hear something banging the water pipes. Sounds like the house is settled. You know what I mean? Like shit happens where it's like a kid doesn't know that. A kid doesn't know like when in my house. Granted, it's different technology now, but I have a system cleaner in my water tank. So I could be sitting down in the basement. All of a sudden, that shit kicks on. It's loud as fuck. If I had a kid sleeping upstairs, they would think someone's down in the basement doing something when it's just a function of the house. And this is probably Wisconsin. It's probably old pipes or it's copper pipes, nothing's secured,
You
something's
see-
banging.
You're giving, I mean, look, you're giving what ifs.
Sure, I'm
Okay.
giving more. I think
you're
I'm
giving
giving
plausible-
likelier scenarios.
You're giving plausible reasons.
plausible reasons. That's a
Okay.
good way of saying.
Plausible reasons can be made for anything. Plausible deniability, especially when it comes to the spiritual realm, is probably the most accurate of everything because no one knows for sure. However, I wasn't in the house with these people. I don't know.
No, I understand that.
What concerns me about this, and I know this is about the bunk beds, but I don't think this is about the bunk beds. I think this might have been something where there was a poltergeist involved in this somewhere. It sounds like this to me because now Horicon, is that the name of the town?
Yes.
Does anybody find out if that's anywhere near a body of water, lake? Do we know?
I mean, it's Wisconsin.
Do we
so-
know? Okay. Do we know what the earth was? Was it sandstone? Was it gravel? Was it clay?
I don't.
Okay.
I
These
can
are
do a
things-
quick thing. I mean, so in Horicon, they are near a body of water. They are near Rock River, and it doesn't say. It just says Rock River, but it's pretty wide. I mean, it's located like right in the middle, not directly in the middle of Wisconsin, but it looks like it's a couple hours northwest of Milwaukee, and that's south. That'd be southwest of Green Bay. So, and it's north of Madison. So it's like right between Madison and Milwaukee, a little bit north than that.
The reason I ask is because what concerns me about everything is they had a third child.
Uh-huh.
Now, poltergeists poltergeists will be more active when there's a child involved. And because it's a baby, she was pregnant and she had a problem with the placenta previa. Is that what you said? Okay. So at that point, they're negative. It's a negative vibe in the house already.
But I've never, at least, I mean, if anyone can, tell me I'm wrong or not, I've never heard of
You're wrong.
a poltergeist that changes people's attitudes or changes people's.
It can.
Yeah, it absolutely can. I mean,
can.
just let's take, because I'm bringing this up because it sounds very, very familiar. And correct me if I'm wrong, spoiler alert here. They didn't last very long in this house. They moved out like a year later or something like that.
2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
Yeah.
Not exactly as fast, but I'm drawing a lot of similarities to Amityville. Granted, the Lutzes were there for a month, right? But George was famously, or what do you call it? He famously said that he felt very different being in that house.
Someone
His
got
attitude-
shot in the house.
Yeah, that's true too. Someone got shot. Several people got shot and killed in that house.
There's a lot of the similarity with the Lutz. If you're going to make a case for either one of them being phony at this point, I mean, they could both be phony. I don't know. However,
one of the Lutzes think it's phone. I think it's the son that
The
thinks
son, yeah, the son.
he doesn't.
Chris
Yeah.
is still all the kids are alive. Both the parents are both gone now.
Yes.
And George was a stepfather. He wasn't
Yes.
very well liked by Chris Lutz at all.
No, he was.
One of them called fucking the Warrens fake.
That
I
might have
remember
been
that.
the younger. It might have been Danny. I don't know.
I think it was Danny. I think Danny's
I mean,
the one.
everything.
Danny's the one they did the
interview
documentary.
movie, documentary
right?
thing, yeah.
And I think he's the one that called bullshit on the Warrens that they.
Yeah, but he also told you what went on in that house as far as the creep factor and the shit that went on in that house.
Sure.
Now, again, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I can tell you where the similarities differ. The Lutz family fled after 27 days. They were gone.
Sure.
Somehow it made its way around to the news media. They had a seance with on Channel 5,
Right.
WNEW at the time.
The picture of Padre Pio, like,
well, the picture
there's
of
so
Padre
many
Pio is not a
things.
picture.
well, I know it's Lorraine,
happening
it's
in
the moose head. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just saying, like, there was so much that came after it. It became a media sensation.
Right. This didn't.
No, I know that. This did like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Just the idea of like a family moves into the house, personality starts changing, mysterious sicknesses.
More common than you know.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm drawing a lot of parallels with the Amityville.
Okay.
Granted, like after a month, they fucking dipped. With this, can't also big thing. If the Lutzes were completely full of shit, it's a smart scheme because this family was just murdered in this house. Now you're saying it's haunted. It's like a win-win for mass media. The book came out. With this, as far as we know, there's no history of this house of anything bad happening. They just moved in and spooky shit starts happening.
What I don't think with this house also is, granted, it's not as famous as Amityville, and it's not like they have there's a story and people know there's a story, but again, if you turn around and be like, hey, You guys ever hear about the Tallman Bunk Beds?
You laughed at.
People are gonna be like, wait.
Yeah, because I think that's
Well, it's not even what I'm saying is like people are like, what is it like a good bunk bed set to get? Like that's what they're not gonna sit there and go, is it a ghost story? You tell someone, hey, you ever heard of Amityville? I know Amityville.
Yeah, because it was a media sensation.
Exactly. So I don't like to sit there and say like maybe these people are faking it or anything like that. I don't know, but I do want to get deeper into the story because there's so much more that happened. So basically, like I said, they didn't believe him, so they took him back to bed. A few minutes later, it happened again. Alan took the suitcase out of his room. They thought he was making up stories for attention. That summer, Marianne and Sarah had trouble sleeping, both the sisters. They would wake up in the middle of the night crying and could not fall back to sleep. Marianne started having nightmares. She told Alan and Debbie about a voice in her room that shushed her. They would also hear her giggling and talking with someone. Fucking explain that one.
Giggling, talking.
If you hear another voice, it's like think about this, Anthony.
I'm listening.
If you, Teresa, as a baby, if you heard her talking to someone and you heard someone talking back to her, what would you think?
So wait a minute, you're telling me that the mother heard her talking and also heard responses?
That's what I'm trying to clarify. Yeah,
that's what it says.
That she heard a second voice.
Yeah. So they heard her giggling and talking to someone.
Right, but are they hearing responses? Because a kid giggling and talking to someone is not uncommon. Like, it does play into the creep factor because you don't know what they're talking to, but kids also have imaginary friends. Kids play with themselves, and they, you know what I mean? Like, some kids, you give them a fucking bag and they're entertained for hours. Like, they like to play and they use their imaginations, and and that's why in movies that's so creepy. It's like, who's she talking to? It's like sometimes it's nobody. It's just a kid with an active imagination. But if the mother or anybody was hearing a response, that's something different. Granted,
that's an issue.
Because because I will say, like, okay, first of all, these are subjective experiences and nothing documented. And I don't tend to believe anybody's word of mouth because anyone can make anything up without proof. With that said, with no reason to lie, I can kind of like, oh, wow, it would pique my interest. I don't believe it, but it is interesting. That's how I would kind of level that out.
Here's more.
Give me more.
Now, granted, we're hearing plausible stuff. You know, there's a plausible reason that any of these
stuff is plausible.
Yes.
That's well, I mean, you could sit there and say it's plausible, but if one of these fucking dolls starts floating in the middle of the room, that's not a plausible thing.
Well, you'll know the episode will be over at that point.
I would ask you to make sure you hit the button on the thing, make sure it's in camera, it's in focus. You know, as if I'm here and I can't get up, I'll at least do this over it. Like, look, people know strings. I know you can say it's CGI or AI or whatever the fuck, but I'm telling you it's not.
But
weird shit's happening.
Let's get back. So
it's the most I can do.
Alan sometimes stayed in the children's bedrooms to help him fall asleep, which is weird.
No, it's not.
You creepy fuck.
Yeah.
Huh? That's done all the time.
Yeah. Even in health.
To all you guys, you slept in our bed upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Even in a healthy relationship, like the bitch is snoring, I'm gonna go sleep in the kids' room.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. He heard what he thought were mice or rats crawling around. He and Debbie searched the house extensively, but found no trace of animal activity. According to them, it was well insulated.
Hold on. Ever seen The Exorcist?
Which scene?
Carl, we need to get some rat traps. No rats.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Carl is ready. Look, I'm telling you, no rats. Just go get the goddamn rat trap.
No, that's again, that makes sense. I get that. I mean,
well, wouldn't it just be quote unquote scratches then? Is that like if you're hearing, like, I guess crawling would be, but wouldn't it be scratching noises that you hear?
Yeah, it's all the same shit.
Okay. What you don't understand is what you don't understand is if this is a poltergeist, this poltergeist has limited things it can do.
Uh-huh.
It might move things around. It might shuffle its feet. It might do something like that.
Shuffle its feet.
Okay. If this is demonic in nature, and so far everything you're telling me, I'm not leaning that way. However, if this was demonic in nature, then you're going to hear the scratching. Then you're going to get scratched yourself. Then you're going to, and the reason it does that, it's oppressing you. It's trying to drive you absolutely crazy to doubt your own mind. That's the difference.
Right. All right. In September, Debbie heard the garage door open and close by itself. She started suffering from violent nightmares, which she had rarely had before moving into the house. In one nightmare, intruders came up from the basement, lined the family up against the wall, and shot them.
She had a nightmare.
She had a nightmare, yes.
She had a nightmare prior to this? Prior to moving in?
No.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait a second. That can't be a thing. You can't sit there like, have you ever had nightmares before moving into this? Yes, everyone's had nightmares in their lives.
Well, I didn't know when
Whoa.
nightmares
Okay,
occurred.
wait.
Now you're talking about
Violent. Hold on.
a violent.
There's a
like,
difference between having nightmares and
Yeah.
having violent nightmares.
No, there's not. Nightmares are nightmares. Violence is subjective.
No. I don't.
Did it encompass anything more? Was it like every night? Was it repetitive, the same dream?
Was the nightmare about something that she couldn't possibly have known and then later on found was true? Like I could see having a nightmare of like you're in a room and you hear scratching in a corner. You're like, what the fuck is that? And you wake up and every night you're having that. And then you finally go to that corner in real life. You're like, there's scratches. Like, that's weird. Like, I dreamt about this. That's something unheard of.
I don't think that's at that point.
Intruders getting murked. Like,
I don't think that's a dream at that point. That's just your subconscious hearing the shit while you're asleep.
Newsflash, buddy. That's all that dreams are. It's your subconscious. That's all it is. It's your subconscious acting up. Nightmares, dreams. It's all you doing it and scaring yourself.
But you got to now take this into context. She's in this house. We don't know what's going on. You have the suitcase under the kid's bed.
Sure.
You have the kid talking and responding. We're going to respond.
And you're sitting in your basement and your garage door opens and closes by itself. What do?
I'm going outside to see who the fuck's coming into my house. And if no one's coming into my house, that's an issue. Also, you have to keep this in mind. When you say garage, open and closed, in what context? Like we have here where there's no motor, my house has a motor on it, which means that something had to fuck with the motor. Someone had to punch the code in. I don't think a demon's on the outside of my house punching the code on my keypad. But if it's a door like we have here in the garage, where you physically have to grab it from the bottom and yank it up, that's a pretty strong goddamn demon or ghost or poltergeist. Or is it more of like those kind of barnyard doors where it swings on a hinge out like this? That I could see if it's on this house, that would be probably the most likely. Because then you could say the wind opened it or something like that. There's a reason, but still creepy and weird. I'll give you that much.
Out of all this stuff that's gone on so far, and I'm sure you have more, correct?
Okay. Little things.
All right. Well, I'm going to add a couple of things that and there's a few that are kind of like standard fare for a haunted.
Sure.
Okay. Red-eyed figure in the basement. What haunted house didn't have that?
Yeah, they all do.
Okay.
Isn't that funny?
It was on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay. I can't falter for that.
Alan Tallman was terrorized by voices. Okay. And also, Tallman, he heard somebody yelling to him, "Come get me," or "Come here." Now, that doesn't concern me. What concerns me is, I'm going to hold that back. You continue what you're doing. I think
there's a lot of story here.
He's got something else. Go on.
So she also had nightmares of the children being kidnapped or drowning in a river. She felt she was going mad for months. They rarely discussed strange occurrences. One evening in late September, Alan was painting in the basement when Debbie called him for dinner. He laid the brush on the paint tray and went upstairs. About a half hour later, he went back down to continue painting. He found the brush on the other side of the table, its handle jammed into the paint bucket with the bristles sticking upright.
That can be a poltergeist.
Or he could have set it down and he didn't realize how he was setting because he was preoccupied with something else.
You're going to tell me he jammed it into the thing and not realize he jammed it?
Hold on. It's a paint bucket. You don't jam anything in a paint bucket. It's not tight enough to be jammed into. Like jam means you're pushing something and there's resistance because it's a tight space. If it's a paint bucket, they're round and wide. And I've made that mistake where I've just like painting something at work. I put the brush down to go do something else, falls on the floor, or it fell into the paint tray.
Here's something.
I understand. He said I did this way.
Wait, hold
this
on.
Happened.
So right after this happened, he saw a shadow apparently dart across the floor. I'm sorry. A few minutes later, a shadow dart across the basement. He figured something strange was happening in the house, but he could not accept that it was haunted.
Shadows are weird to me.
I can't say what happened.
Do poltergeists cast shadows?
Or are they the shadow?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I've never heard of a poltergeist that had a shadow.
I have not ever heard of that.
I've seen them move shit.
See, shadows are strange to me because a shadow, by definition, right, is something standing in the way of a light source.
Correct.
Right? But if the thing itself is the shadow, and the shadow has a sentience to it, what is standing in the way of the light source to cast that shadow? Like a shadow just doesn't happen.
I think when it comes to shadows, as far as shadows being ghosts, and we're going to talk about shadow people 2 seasons or next season.
Shadow people.
there's a misconception of we call them shadows because that's what they
That's what they look like.
To
But
us,
they're not actually.
but not actually shadows.
I gotcha.
You know, they're not standing in front of a light source. They're just basically an apparition, if you will.
Okay, it's an
but the most people just
thing.
call them shadow people. You know,
It's an
just
unknown
shadows.
thing in a sort of like person-shaped,
depending on what
darkness.
energy it can muster up, it can actually project itself in a lot of different ways.
Sure.
Even a poltergeist, if a poltergeist can muster enough energy, you might be able to actually see it outlined or something like that.
That's
few and far between. That's few and far between. We got to go on, Joe.
You're a dickhead. Oh shit, where am I?
It needs to eat its Wheaties in order to get the energy up. I mean,
This is why I'm asking about the water.
I know the water and the rock and stuff, because natural elements do have an energy and a charge to them. That's why a lot of paranormal investigators go hunting. Like, batteries die and shit like that because they're drawing the energy in order to show themselves.
Yeah,
I get it.
Tell me the plausible reason for this.
Let's just call this show Plausible Deniability, the podcast. Go on.
One morning, Alan found the basement window removed and neatly propped up against the wall. No valuables had been taken.
It's a very Bob Vila-like. I don't want to cause damage, but I do want to spook you. I would be interested if he woke up one morning, he opened the cabinet to make pancakes, get the mix out, and everything was listed alphabetically. He's like, this was a shithole yesterday. Good job, honey. I didn't do it. Who did it? Fucking Mrs. Clean, the ghost.
She felt like the wife felt like she was being, Debbie felt like she was being watched. The Tallmans got a dog for protection because they thought maybe, again, them not accepting that they might be haunted. They thought, with the window being open, where someone robbed us or anything like that.
Fucking around.
They got a dog for protection, but he acted strangely. He barked at the house when he was outside. Once inside, he scratched the door to get the fuck out.
I do tend to believe animals. Like, if a dog doesn't like you, you're probably an asshole.
Other neighborhood dogs would bark at their home for no apparent reason. Alan felt uneasy when he came into the house. He felt like something was waiting for him in the garage, watching his every moment when he closed the garage door. He felt like he was shutting himself inside of a tomb. Dad's on the edge of his seat.
I'm okay. Like, it's a garage.
So I have a question for you. Does the neighborhood dogs and their own personal dogs, does that change anything for you?
What kind of dog was it? Like, their dog? Like, other dogs barking at the house? I don't know about that. Like, you would have to really show me, like, was the dogs freaking out? Like, they're trying to pull them away and the dog's just standing there screaming? Or is like they're passing up and the dog just is a dog and barks? And like, oh my God, it's barking at us. Like, no, it's just a dog. It took a shit on your front lawn. That's about it. Like, if it's like like we had Mickey. Mickey was dumb. Mickey was a stupid goddamn dog. We couldn't, we put him in a haunted house, he probably would like try to like get pets from the demon. He was dumb. But if you put like a Rottweiler or something like that, that's like trained and it's like, fuck this. I was a police dog, put me back on the front line. I don't want to go near this house. Different story. What kind of dog was it? Do we know? Was it trained or was it like,
I don't fucking know.
Was it like Max, who's just like jumping up and down because he got no home training? Like, what's going on with the dog?
So you think their dog's a meth head dog like Max?
He's not a Labrador. He's a meth lab.
Well, he's a
meth Labrador.
Look, here's where things get a little more interesting. Ready? He felt like someone was watching him in the garage with the door. Okay. While walking from the garage into the house one night, he felt a sharp tug on his lunch pail.
Okay.
Alan, yes. In late October, Alan began suffering from... Oh, what the fuck? He began suffering from severe sinus infection. A few nights later, his condition worsened. He was coughing, throwing up, and having trouble breathing. Debbie took him to the hospital, and his mother came over to watch the children. She had a bad feeling about the house and could not wait to leave. After the children went to bed, she fell asleep on the living room couch. In the middle of the night, she woke up and saw glowing red eyes staring at her through the window. Playing that one!
She woke up in the night and saw something she didn't recognize. Could have been anything. I don't know.
Glowing red eyes?
How long? Okay. I hate to get to I need to know the details. How long were you staring at this thing? So anytime I saw glowing red eyes. Did you get up and investigate? Or did you turn over and hold on, no, listen to me. You see it? What do? What's the very next thing that you do? Do you get up and scream and run away? Do you say it's the middle of the night, it's probably something, and you put it in the back of your mind and roll over and go back to bed?
Myself.
Do you get up, investigate, and start turning lights on, trying to figure out what you saw? What was the next thing that happened? That's very telling. Because if she saw the red eyes and she went, fuck, someone's it's a reflection of the candles or some bullshit, and goes back to bed, I don't give a fuck. If she got up screaming and said, somebody's here, and drew attention to it, Okay, you obviously saw something. I can't explain what it was, but I'm not going to call you a liar. But she woke up in the middle of the night and she saw something. I'm not the most alert. I stub my toe many nights when I go take a piss. 2 or 3 in the morning, I get up to go to the bathroom. I'm bumping into shit all the time. I'm asleep. There could be something. There could be anything that I'm just passing by that looks like something else. I don't pay attention to it because I got to go take a piss. What happened next is my big question.
Well, unless they have that, or they're answering that question, I don't think you're going to get your answer.
I
However,
get you.
if
Hit me
you
with
get
it.
up in the middle of the night and you decide and you stand there and you wait, you roll your eyes, and she's smart enough to tell you right now that they were 2 red glowing eyes. That means she deciphered what it was.
Well, she saw something and she thought what it is.
She thought they were red
Right.
eyes.
Outside the window at fucking in the middle of the night.
Oh, this happened outside the window or inside the house?
This is outside her window.
Outside the window,
That's
looking in.
That's what the wife said.
That opens up a whole world of anything. That could be a passing car.
Yeah, it could be
Okay.
some sort of animal, like when it
Staring at her through the window. That's what she said.
I'd have to see it.
Yeah. Is
I'd
that
have
like?
to see it.
Did she wake up someone and say, "Go outside and look"?
The glowing red eyes, put that in the skepticals column.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. I know it's fictional, but the movie Signs is a great example. Granted, it was a cornfield. Mel Gibson heard something on the roof. He went outside and went, "There's something on my roof. What the fuck's going on?" He saw something move in the cornfield. He went after it to investigate. What the fuck is happening? Is someone, because logically, I would think the first place you go is someone's fucking with me. Neighborhood kids are acting like assholes. Someone tried to break in downstairs. We found the window neatly placed. Someone's back. Let me get the shotgun and go find out, because obviously someone's here fucking with us. If they don't do any investigation, she goes, "That's peculiar." And then she just mentions it the next day over breakfast. I saw someone staring at me. I don't believe a fucking word of it.
Well, you're going to have to put it into context.
You're gonna have to get closer to the mic.
That's a good point. You're going to have to get close to the mic if you're going to speak.
You're going to have to put it into context on what happened
What happened
in that
next?
moment, and what happened immediately after. I do agree with you, Anthony. However, I'm going to also tell you that, you brought up Signs, and that's fine, but Signs is a little different.
I know, they're aliens.
Well, no, it's not that they're alien. It's the fact that he heard something on the roof but didn't see it.
No, I know that.
So he was like, "Okay, what is that? I want to know what that
Okay,
is."
yeah, I get you.
I
Like,
feel things are moving.
yeah,
You're chasing it
yeah.
to figure out the burglar.
I get you.
If there was 2 red orbs floating in the cornfield, I guarantee you Mel Gibson's on a plane back to fucking L.A.
Yeah, okay. Well, Mel Gibson, he owned that farm. I would torch the corn. Like, I know it's my probably my only source of income. Fuck that noise. Burn it to the ground. I want to see shit for miles now.
Speaking of burning, did you get to the part with the fire in this?
Oh, wait, there's fire? Explain.
I'll let him take it from here.
Well, I mean, he's not at his mic at the moment. He's busy being a producer. Explain. You're ready to bring it up.
According to the story,
Mm.
the bed bunk beds.
The bunk bed. We haven't even talked about the bunk beds
Right,
yet.
that's what I'm saying. I think that's just a bullshit story.
They're just blaming on the bunk beds
But
because it was the last piece of furniture.
Real quick, put your hand in front of the camera.
Here's where it gets crazy stupid.
Okay.
According to more than one person, the bunk beds caught fire. Heat,
No heat.
light.
Fire produces light.
Well, there was no heat from this. And when they approached it to try to put it out, it went out. Nothing was burned.
Well, you're jumping ahead a little bit, because what I have here.
Well, I mean,
What is it, the burning bush?
Well, no, what I have here
If
is
the bunk beds were made out of the same bush.
one night late in November, Marianne, which is that's the middle daughter, told Debbie that she saw fire in her room. She also said someone was watching her. She was so scared that Debbie had to sit with her until she fell asleep. Over the next few days, she talked about fire on the door and windows. She also said something was hiding behind her door, waiting until the lights went out to attack her. Once again, Debbie heard Marianne giggling, laughing, and talking with someone in the middle of the night. She joined her parents in bed and said, "It's coming, it's here." When they asked who was coming, she became upset and asked why they could not see or hear it.
That's all creepy. I can't explain any of that shit. That's fucking creepy.
I can explain that.
Uh-oh.
And in front of
I can explain it in a way because a lot of times when you're dealing with something otherworldly, we're going to say, or spiritual, they're going to go to the most vulnerable. And
Yeah,
that would be
children,
the child.
yeah.
And the child's going to get frustrated because the child trying to explain something, and he's basically called your kid, go back to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. And the kid can get punished. No one will believe him. And that's like, if nobody believes you, you're like on an island all to yourself.
Yeah. I read a very interesting, a little side here, but whatever. I read an interesting novel last year. It's fictional. I didn't particularly like it just because of the way it was written, but The premise is interesting. The story is it's told from the POV of a little girl. She's 6 years old. That's the narrator. And she knows that there's a monster who lives in the closet because the monster visits her. And there's big chunks of the story where she tells her parents about, they call her Other Mommy, this entity. She goes, Other Mommy came and visited me last night, and this is what my Other Mommy looks like. And the little girl describes like as a child would, her parents arguing over what to believe, what not to believe. They're skeptics and what have you. And as the story goes on and on, it does get ramped up. The entity starts attacking things and whatever. It has a really dumb ending.
Well, look.
But it's like, you're right. When like a little kid is like, if it's being visited by something, parents will not generally don't believe it. They're like, this is not, you're imagining.
Well, I'm gonna speed this up.
This is the last time we let the kid watch this before bed,
because we're a little deep into the episode and we haven't really. But so basically, this is documented paranormal activity now.
Documented.
Flickering lights, radios turning on and off, voices and footsteps with no source. One child claimed to see a witch-like figure. Alan Tallman witnessed a smoky, red-eyed entity in the garage. Alan saw a glowing figure cloaked in fire in the bedroom doorway. The family fled the house shortly after the incident. The role of the bunk bed. All activity traced back to the arrival and setup of the bunk bed. Haunting ceased after the bunk bed was removed and destroyed. And then the bed was reportedly thrown away in a landfill. No one knows exactly where.
Zach Baggins, he really would have loved to have that for his museum.
So
they got rid of all the evidence. They blamed it on the bunk bed. They destroyed the bunk bed. The haunting stops happening.
Well, think about this. In 1988, they did have the Unsolved Mystery segment. Featured national attention. Reenactments aired. Family appeared silhouetted to protect identity. The local pastor declined to speak in detail, said only something evil was in the house.
The bunk bed.
Theories. No, go ahead, Dan.
Does the ghost haunt the
want to
landfill
know. I want to know now that you said the clergy was involved, the pastor. I'm assuming it was not a Catholic. Back then, probably Baptist.
Well, Wisconsin is probably it. It could be Methodist too.
Yeah.
Could be anything. I don't think.
I'm going through. They turned to their pastor, Reverend Wayne Dobratz of St. Stephen's Lutheran Church.
Lutheran.
All right. You got to understand something. When a pastor says there's something evil in that house, I need you to understand this. How is that evil? Because they'll label anything that is, something floating across the room is evil. Everything is evil.
Because it's not natural.
Well,
it's supernatural.
It's to them, there's nothing, everything, there's no ghosts, everything that happens is demonic and entity. And that is so inaccurate.
You can't, hold on, you can't really fault them for that because that's what their belief teaches them. That souls go to heaven or hell and they don't stay here. And if something is here, it's not a person. It's got to be the only thing, and that's a demon. It's weird. I always find, like, I'm a big believer in balance, like heaven and hell, God and the devil. Like, there's a balance to everything. Like, you have demons and you have angels, but like demons are the ones who get involved and start, doing spooky shit on earth. I very rarely hear someone like I encountered an angel. It's always like an accident and someone pulled you from the wreckage. Like, who was it? We didn't catch their name.
Hey, fuck you. You ever watched Angels in the Outfield?
The outfield? It's always like, angels will, like, there's always that story, like, they save someone from a wreckage type shit, but like demons are much more common. The demons get shit done. They're out and about. They have purpose.
Well, look, we're gonna talk about theories about the haunting. Ready? So there is a demonic attachment, possibly tied to the previous owner or the wood used.
What, the bunk beds or the house?
The bunk beds.
Someone died in the bunk beds. No one told them. Sent it to Goodwill.
Reclaimed wood theory. A bed may have been built from cursed or spiritually active material, ergo coffin wood or a tree struck by lightning. The tree struck by lightning idea I've never understood, because, like, what do you mean there's an attachment to a tree struck by lightning?
Never heard that either. It burns down. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
It's nature. Like, it was struck by lightning. It doesn't make it a bad thing. It just was.
Yeah.
It got caught.
Poltergeist activity triggered by emotional energy or stress. Skeptics point out lack of hard evidence beyond the family testimony.
There you go.
And then you have the mass hysteria, sleep paralysis, fear, contagion, psychological explanations.
Yeah, they're all fucked in the head in some way, which I don't.
They have similar cases up here, Anthony, and you're gonna be mad at.
Yeah, I probably will, but like that's one thing I won't put that on. Like, it's all mental, because for a whole family to start experiencing similar symptoms, like, it's one thing. It's like, oh, your grandma had this mental disorder. You have something, it's like something that's hereditary. But everyone's moving into the house, and now all of a sudden, it's like that doesn't happen like that. It's progressive. You don't move into it's like you don't move into the house, and all of a sudden, like because grandpa had diabetes, now we all have diabetes, like immediately. Like it's something different.
Well, the similar cases of haunted furniture, the Busby Stoop chair, we talked about that last week. The Glatzel rocking chair, which we haven't talked about. I don't think it's on this.
Glasgow?
The Glatzel.
Glatzel.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
And then the good old Dippet box.
Oh, yeah, we talked about the fucking dumb box.
Not uncommon for paranormal claims to revolve around objects, not just locations. We know that. Common themes is secondhand items, reclaimed wood, trauma-infused artifacts.
Trauma-infused artifacts, I don't know about that. Like that'd be close to what we kicked this season off with Robert the Doll.
Well, think about this.
Hey, Bobby boy.
Well, think about trauma-infused artifacts can be the same thing as trauma-infused locations. Like we talked last season about these abandoned locations with very bad things that happen to them, a lot of
torture, murder.
So if something like that you could sit there, again, I don't remember if you believe that bad energy can be stuck to a place, but if you think bad energy can be attached to a location, don't you think bad energy can be attached to a particular object also?
Yes. If I'm going to make that leap and go, a lot of negative energy, a lot of bad things happened here, and there's stories of like Gettysburg, right? It's the bloodiest battle of the Civil War, and to this day, there's still people who go there and I see shadows and I see lights, I hear music, I can hear guys talking.
Bro, they found that they have video.
Right, there's hard evidence, like there's hard video evidence that's still being disputed about Gettysburg because why? Because a lot of people died there. So if I can go at least that far and say a place of extreme negative energy leaves a mark, I could say the same of an object. However, how is that infused on that object is the big thing. Like a battlefield, people died there. It's a grave site, right? I wouldn't put it past. We haven't heard much, and I haven't done any of this research, but I'd be curious to know if there's any sightings at the World Trade Center. Or like on a different floor.
You're not going to know that.
Yeah, exactly. You're not.
It's respect. People
right, exactly.
People aren't going to call ghost hunters in to go, well, you got to find out who's
also the One World Trade Center wasn't built in the same footprint as the original two, right? Like it's not exactly, it's off to the side. So you're not going to
go west of it.
Right. So and also it's New York City. A lot of people are like, there's so much in the air. It's like, you're not going to be able to take a picture, but look, see the orb, like fuck off. It's New York. But Gettysburg is a different story, but again, how does something get infused with the negative energy? Like you can put a curse on it. You can do something like that. But like for like the Busby chair, like, oh no, like that's my chair and I'll kill you if you sit in it. That doesn't make it fucking haunted. It's a chair.
An object can be cursed in many, many ways. It can be used in a ritual.
Yes.
It can be used in some kind of activity that was in the house.
Someone, like I said before, someone died in the bed.
That would,
or maybe they were
cursing that.
Maybe they were murdered in the bed. You know what I mean? Like it's the place that someone.
Yeah, but how would that explain glowing red eyes and see?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, also doesn't make sense. Like, oh, the bed was on fire and there's no burn. Like that's
what concerns me.
That doesn't concern me.
Because
fire is physical.
That's an apparition at that point.
Well, no, that anything that burns and doesn't leave marks or anything like that, or a visualization.
I call bullshit
in that person's head of a fire starting or anything like that. To me, that's demonic.
Well, again, but I did a comedy, but I did bring up the burning bush. Like it was on fire. Moses spoke to the bush. He heard God's voice. And again, it's not the fact that it's something that was demonic. It was the way God was trying to talk to him. I'm not saying that God was trying to speak to this family through a burning bunk bed. A fireplace, like, dude, it's right there. Just make fire happen and say, go do this. I command you. Like, that'd be one thing. Fire is a physical property. Like it's tangible. Right. It affects things. That doesn't, like, you can't set something on fire and then it just doesn't burn unless it's coated in like a gel. Like you can do that. They do that in Hollywood all the time. You coat your hand in the gel and you can hold it.
It's a supernatural thing that is happening.
Fire's not supernatural though.
Yeah, see, what you're missing, though, Anthony, a lot of times, this is where now it gets out of the poltergeist realm. Now you're bringing it more towards the demonic realm, because if you're starting to see visions, I don't believe poltergeist. Now, I could be wrong, and if anybody out there is listening and I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't believe that poltergeists can, or human spirits can project that kind of apparition. Now, I'm not saying it's real fire because believe me, if a demonic wanted to put something on fire, and it can,
right.
it will.
I can understand as they went. I can't tell you if it was real. I didn't feel heat, but I saw it on fire. Maybe it was a vision. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I can believe you because it's subjective. I'll take your word for it because you're at least giving me the latitude to say that it was all in your head. But if you're telling me that you walked into a bedroom, the bunk bed was on fire, there was no heat, it projected light, and it put itself out, there's no burn marks, I'm calling bullshit 10 out of 10 times.
Why?
Because fire is a physical thing.
So my point,
it has an effect.
All right, I'll give you all that. But what you're not understanding is this could be something psychological.
Right.
If this is demonic in nature.
But if it's psychological, then the bed was never on fire.
Right. You're right.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not going to know that. Let me tell you something. If I walk in here and this desk is on fire and I'm standing over there,
that's peculiar.
I'm going to go, okay, we have to put that fucking thing out. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to try whatever I can to put it out. But if upon reaching it, it goes out and there was no heat and no smoke and no nothing, then I'm saying there's something wrong with my fucking head.
Exactly my point.
Okay. So again, what caused that vision?
What that vision is something else.
Whoa. I'm gonna
I don't believe it was actually physically on fire at all.
Joey thinks it was physically on fire, don't you?
Not physically on fire as part of like fucking flames and stuff like that. Because when you get into the realm of then it's all in their head, it's psychological. Then how come the scratching that could be in their head too?
Well, yeah,
or the voices in their head.
You have to question everything.
And then at that point you sit there and go, well, what if it's not really a ghost then or something demonic? Then it's just they're a fucking schizo. You get into those realms, and that's something
for one person.
Exactly. Yes, for one person.
If one person's constantly, if little Timmy's coming out of his room and this is on fire, that's on fire.
You use little Timmy a lot.
The little spooks are hurting him and whatever.
Excuse me?
Okay.
The kid ghosts. Children ghosts. That could be a thing.
I'm sorry.
Bunk beds are haunted by children ghosts. They're little spooks.
Okay.
That's a thing.
Edit that out.
No. It's
anyway,
fine.
If it's happening to one person, then you got to say, okay, maybe it's time we check you into the fucking Laughing Academy. However,
more than happy.
I don't think that if this is happening collectively, this is on one person.
Right.
If more than one person saw that burning thing, the burning bed, then psychologically something was affecting their psyche.
If the whole family, we stood there, we were watching it burn. Timmy went out to the kitchen, grabbed some marshmallows.
Hey, you can do Timmy.
Timmy went to go get some marshmallows. We all saw this. Then I'm like, something. It can't be psychological. I don't believe you. I don't, because that's not how fire works. I can't explain it.
But it can be a projected apparition, which
a projected vision.
Right. The demonic can do that.
I suppose.
If people, this is where I'm going to get a little religious here. If people can turn around and say the apparition of Mary at
Fatima,
right? They always it's the apparition.
It wasn't her herself. It was a vision that everyone saw collectively.
She made herself known.
Right.
And it's Mary. She's going to be able to do that. It wasn't like she was standing there.
It's the same trick by two different magicians.
Okay.
But why the bunk bed?
No, hold on.
A 15-20 minute episode.
But why the bunk bed, though?
That makes
set the cat on fire. That'd be really tracking issues.
Hold on. No animals were filmed or killed in this.
I don't care if it's not physically there or anything like that. Listen, ghosts and apparitions, they're not physically there as far as science is concerned.
Yeah, I think you're arguing two different points here.
No, I'm not arguing two different points, because when you sit there and it's psychological and they're attacking their psyche or they're attacking their brain and stuff like that, you're sitting there basically, you can sit there and go, well, it could be mass hysteria. It could be, children are involved, and it could be the parents implanting this into their children's brain.
Absolutely.
Something like that.
Could be a gas leak.
You're sitting here and you're giving if it's a real thing. And again, using that big word if, but if it's a real thing, you're sitting here telling them, well, we don't believe you because, science proves this. Science says fire can't, leaves behind residue and stuff like that. Science can't prove ghosts. Science can't prove demons. So to sit here and say what the demons and the can do based upon what science can do, throw science out the door when you're talking about demons, ghosts, and stuff like that. Because
if science do when you're trying to look at something logically.
But the thought of ghosts and demons is an illogical thing to begin with.
It's a perception.
It's not a perception. It's the truth. It is something that is beyond our plane of existence, our plane of mind.
I'll give you that much.
And we don't understand it. I don't know if we ever will understand it. But to sit there and use, like, it's like trying to use math to get quadrants or whatever the fuck you want to say to prove a theory out. You can't do it when there's nothing to.
Hold on. I will give you this much. You're right for right now, right? If you were to say to somebody, when music was like first being like popular hundreds of years ago, that I could figure this out with math, and they didn't understand that what that meant. They would look at you and you're fucking insane. It's music. It's not math, but music is math. Measurements and timing and all that shit, like, quarter notes, half notes. It is based in math by nature, but we don't perceive it that way when, at least they didn't, when they were writing it. Oh, this sounds good. That sounds good. These notes strung together sound good. It wasn't until like you really study it and understand it that you're like, oh shit, it can be explained like that. Like, and that happens a lot. So I'll give you that for right now. Like, you can't explain away a ghost using something like math, sure, because we don't know what the fuck it is.
That's my point, though.
Right, but if it comes to the day where we can actually define what a ghost is, give it properties, I don't know when that's going to happen.
Listen,
but when that happens, like, we'll have an explanation.
When that happens, and if that happens, we'll have an explanation. We'll come back to this video or this episode and be like,
there'll be so many videos that we got to come back to and be like, it was actually this equation.
But look, the problem is, I have a problem with anybody who sits there. Now, I understand the reason why, but I have a problem with anybody who sits there and try to use science to understand what a ghost or a demon does. Because you're doing something, you're trying to use something that is not explained, period, by what that thing is.
Okay.
I'm using a lot of like thing and bad.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, and I have to disagree with you because science is how we have an explanation for everything.
But science doesn't have an explanation for ghosts
yet. And the only way...
I don't care about yet.
I understand, but the only way you're going to figure it out is by using the methods and tools of science to prove or disprove it. So when someone comes and goes, well, scientifically, and they can have some sort of answer that's based in science to try and explain this, that is just as credible as someone who goes, well, excuse me, it's a little bit more credible, but then someone who's going, well, it's my faith that demons do this and poltergeists do that because it's what we know, based off of religious texts or some shit like that. Like, science is rooted in facts, and you can expand on those facts and make the meaning deeper. But a fact is never going to change. It's the truth.
I completely and utterly agree with you. The problem is ghost, demons, they've never been proven by science. So how can you sit there and put the standards on something that you don't even know if it's fucking there?
I'll tell you exactly how. You are able to come up with a theory and test that theory and experiment. And then when you've reached your capacity, you got to sit there and go, okay, I can't do anything else. I'm limited by my knowledge or and my understanding or technology. And that's how science works. And then a generation later comes along with better equipment, better ways or new ways of understanding. And all of a sudden, that thing that you couldn't explain then, now you can explain based off of these new ideas and theories of science.
You're exactly right.
So it applies to the paranormal world as well. You can't sit there and say with definition, like, this is what's happening mathematically or scientifically, and that's why ghosts are happening. I'm not saying that. What you can do is use the tools and methods of science to argue and to try to discover what these things are.
Then maybe the argument is a little bit different here.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe the argument is here. If you could sit there and say, okay, we can't obviously by science prove that ghosts exist. That means we can't use science to say that this couldn't happen then, because we don't know the capabilities of what ghosts can do.
No, you can use science to rule it. Perfect example, the bed's on fire. Well, if we still had the bed, you can use so many different tests to see if it was ever on fire. And if all the tests are saying that this bed was never on fire, it then negates what they said, what they claim to have seen. But what you can say at that point is, this bed was never on fire. It never was, and we have proof that it wasn't. However, that doesn't rule out something like a vision that you experience subjectively. That's where science can come in when you're doing stuff on the paranormal. You can test
But
things.
but science would never be able to explain what they saw.
As absolutely not, because that's subjective experience, which is why subjective experiences are so low when it comes, but the most prevalent when it comes to ghosts and shit, because anybody can have a ghost story. Something I saw spooked me, or I heard something, or I felt something. Have no way to fucking prove it.
Well, speaking
And
about
that's where the
creepy,
big divide is.
Uncle's light just went on.
Yeah, it did. I noticed that too. As I was sitting here, I saw it in the corner of my eye. The angriest man in the land up there just clicked on. I don't know where it's plugged into, but it
That's hold on. Let's continue.
leave it alone.
Let's leave it alone. Let's continue the episode.
Continue it. Can we end it? I mean,
I think we've said everything we could say about a fucking bunk bed. The house is haunted.
Well, look,
they think the bunk beds did it.
So basically, what happened now is if you want to sit there and believe it or not, again, it could be all stories, it could be subjective experiences, but according to this family, after they got rid of the bunk bed, or after the bunk bed was removed from the house because they didn't stay there long, the stuff stopped. No more haunting, no more nothing.
Which
so again, this bunk bed book ends the ghostly
haunting,
activities, the haunting.
It's the same thing with Amityville. After the Lutzes moved out, there was like no reporting of anything. Nothing happened.
So you have to sit there and guess whether or not you believe this story from this family. Now, granted, this story is widely shared in the paranormal activity, the paranormal communities. We haven't heard about it because I don't really go searching for, until this season, paranormal attachments to furniture. But Anthony, do you believe in this story?
I believe that they think they experienced something. I don't believe that this house was haunted, and I don't believe the bunk bed was haunted. There's no reason for me to believe it. If there's no hard evidence here, it's all subjective experiences and shit like that. I can't believe in something like that. I do not believe in word of mouth.
All right. Dad, how about you?
It's not that I don't believe it. What I'm going to tell you is there's a lot of ghost stuff in this haunting that is, you can put in any ghost, you can substitute it into Amityville, other ghost houses that were haunted. Same thing, glowing red eyes, kids talking to nobody. Okay. It's what bothers me about this one is the bunk bed's on fire. We don't know what that was. If it was mass hallucination or it was induced by something demonic in a demonic realm. I don't know. You can't prove it happened, yes or no. But again, if they said it and they believe it was done, and just to give them the benefit of the doubt, they did see what they said they seen. That's a problem. That would be a problem. However, by getting rid of the bunk beds, the stuff just stopped. And I'd be I would say this is more credible in a certain way that they never ran to the news media. They never tried to write a book about it. They never sensationalized, to my knowledge, anyway.
Right. That does. You're absolutely right.
It adds to the credibility. But again, there's no way you can sit here all day and you're not going to get an answer. So, do I believe it happened? It has markings that it could have happened. I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm going to believe them. I'm going to say, yeah, I do believe that something happened. What it was, I couldn't tell you.
All right. Well, listen, next week's episode, we were talking about the haunted wedding dress of Anna Baker. Now, this is going to be involved, obviously, it's a wedding dress, but I believe the haunting wedding dress of Anna Baker involves the woman in white type of story, which we haven't covered yet.
Well, we kind of had. We did an episode on Annie's Road, or we talked about Annie's Road on this podcast. We've talked
but there's
about
we talked.
That's all woman in white story.
But at Annie's Road, there's also many different theories.
Yeah, there's different
Annie's
versions,
Road,
but it's a woman in white story at heart.
Okay. Oh, that's next week's episode, but so I'll just give a little preview for it right now. They say love never dies, but in the case of Anna Baker, it just lives on. It festered. Behind the glass in a dusty Pennsylvania museum sits a wedding dress that never was worn. Once the symbol of a wealthy young woman's dream, now it's a centerpiece of a ghost story so chilling even skeptics leave shaken. Some say they've seen it move, swaying as it caught on a phantom breeze. Others swear they hear sobbing coming from the shadows of the Baker mansion. But the real question is, can a wedding dress carry the pain of a broken heart beyond the grave?
We'll talk about it next week.
We will talk about it next week. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Is This Real? This has been one of our longest episodes this season.
Yeah, well.
And we will catch you guys next week again for the haunted wedding dress of Anna Baker. Everybody say goodnight.
Adios, motherfuckers.
Good night, all.
We'll catch you guys next week. Remember, everybody, question everything. Good night.